Hello, welcome to Richer Talk. Today I want to share some powerful ideas from an eye-opening book called The Courage to be Disliked by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. This book is all about personal freedom and happiness. It has some pretty bold claims. For example, how would you feel if I told you that basically all your problems in life come down to relationships with other people? It sounds crazy at first, but stay with me. These ideas might just change how you see your life. So today, we will explore three big lessons from this book. First, how to achieve personal freedom by not living for other people's approval. Second, why the authors say all problems are interpersonal relationship problems. Third, the idea that you are not the center of the world, and why understanding that can make you happier. I'll also share some everyday examples and short stories along the way. Alright, let's dive in with the first big idea. Let's talk about personal freedom. What does it really mean to be free in your life? A lot of us might think freedom is doing whatever we want or not having rules. But the kind of personal freedom this book talks about is a bit different. It's about being free from the options and the expectations of others. In other words, real freedom is when you no longer live your life chained by the need for approval or the fear of being disliked. Think about how often we do things just because we worry about what others will think. Maybe you post something on social media and then keep checking how many likes it gets because that makes you feel valued. Or you say yes to a favor you didn't want to just because you didn't want your friend to think you are mean. Sure, we all want to be liked by others, but if your main goal is to please everyone, you are essentially living your life for other people, not for yourself. We become actors, playing a role that society or our family or our friends have handed to us. And that means we are not truly free. So, how do we break out of that? According to the others, you have to be the courage to be disliked. Yes, literally, the courage to be disliked. Now, that doesn't mean trying to make people dislike you on purpose. It means that if you are living honestly, according to your own values, some people will probably not like what you do, and you have to be okay with that. Think about it. Even you are the nicest person in the world, someone will still dislike something about you, and that's fine. Trying to avoid all conflicts or all criticism is a recipe for stress and disappointments. In fact, if you are bending over backwards just so that nobody will dislike you, you are basically wearing a psychological straitjacket. On the flip side, when you have the courage to be disliked, you are saying, I know not everyone will agree with me or approve of me, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay to do what's right for me. That mindset is incredibly liberating. Think of an example. Imagine there's an artist who loves creating weird, unique paintings, but he's afraid people will laugh at him, so he paints boring, safe pictures just to get praise. He's miserable because he's not expressing himself. Now imagine he says, you know what? Some people might think my art is strange, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's what I love. Sure, maybe a few critics will roll their eyes, but others might love it. And most importantly, he will love living his own life. By risking the possibility of being disliked, he gains the freedom to pursue his passion. And chances are he will be a lot happier than if he stuck to what pleased others. Now I get it. This is easier said than done. From a young age, most of us learn to seek approval. We try to get good grades, to make our parents and teachers proud. We try to fit in with our peers, and we might even choose a career or life path to meet others' expectations. So it does take the courage to step away from that. A good way to start is to ask yourself, when you are making a decision, am I doing this because I want to, or because I'm afraid of what someone will think if I don't? It's okay if the honest answer is often the latter. Recognizing that is a big step. From there, try little acts of being true to yourself. It could be as simple as politely saying no to something you really don't want to do, instead of going just to avoid disappointing someone. Or wear the clothes that you feel comfortable in, even if they are not the latest trend. These small things build up your courage to dislike muscle, and you will find that the world doesn't end when you start doing what you truly want. Sure, the people might question or criticize you, but many will respect you for being sincere. And if they don't, who cares? That's the point. The reward is that you start to live a life that feels yours. You are making choices because they align with your value or your joy, not just because, well, I guess I should. Otherwise, people will judge me. The author put it like this: living to satisfy others' expectation is a form of lying to yourself. And it's true. You can end up not even knowing what you really want because you are being so busy living others people's dreams. So remember, real personal freedom means being okay with not everyone liking you. It's the willingness to be true to yourself over trying to cater to options. This is the first and maybe the most important lesson from this book. But I hope everyone here knows that the courage to be disliked doesn't mean that you can break rules or laws. There's always a line there, okay? Alright, let's move on to the second big idea. All problems are interpersonal relationship problems. This is another bold claim from the book. At first glance, you might think, wait, no, I have lots of problems that have nothing to do with other people. What about my financial problems or health issues, or the fact that I can't stick to a diet? Those seem like personal or individual issues, right? But the more you dig into it, the more you find other people are usually involved somewhere, even if it's your own mind. Pretty much every feeling of dissatisfaction or pain we have can be traced to a relationship issue. For example, suppose I feel like a failure because I failed an exam or even lost my job. If I were completely alone in the world, the failure wouldn't mean much at all. It stinks because I'm comparing myself to others or worrying about disappointing my family and friends. In short, the pain isn't just from the failure itself, but from its social impact, basically, how I think other people see it. The book goes as far as to say, if you completely eliminate other people from your life, you will also eliminate many of your problems. For example, if you are alone, you can have a quarrel. You also won't feel jealousy or inferiority because there's nobody to compare with. So, in the end, it all ties back to people. So, what do we do with this insight that all problems are interpersonal relationship problems? One practical thing the book suggested is something called separation of tasks. This is a fancy way of saying figure out what is your responsibility and what is not. Many interpersonal problems come from either us sticking our noses in other people's business or letting others poke their noses into ours. For example, consider a parent and adult child relationship. A parent might think their child's career or marriage choices are their responsibility. Then they try to control it, the child resents it, and they have big fights. Here, the parent has intruded on the child's task, which is to choose their own life path. We each have our own tasks, things like our own decisions, our own feelings, our own work, and other people have theirs. If someone doesn't like you, for instance, that's actually their task, not yours, because that's their feeling. You can't control it, and it's not your responsibility to manage their feelings. Your task is how you act, how you treat them. When we clearly separate whose task is whose, life gets a lot simpler. We stop meddling and we stop unwittingly letting others control us. It's like setting a healthy boundary. So next time you are stressed about a relationship issue, ask, am I worried about something that's my responsibility? Or am I taking on someone else's worries? If it's not your task, maybe you can let it go. And if it is yours, then focus on and accept that someone else may not agree or may have their own reaction, which is their business. This separation of tasks leads to healthier relationships too, because instead of controlling each other, you start respecting each other's freedom. I respect that you have your own life to live, and I have mine. Ironically, by doing this, we actually get along better with people. It reminds me of something totally random, but kind of related. My mom used to always tell me, wear proper shoes when you drive. But here's the thing, most of the time, I had just come back from somewhere already showered, and honestly, putting on shoes again felt like such a hassle. So yeah, I wore slippers. And every time she would say, slippers are dangerous. You will see when you get into car accidents. You will know I was right. It just felt like noise to me. But looking back, I get it now. She was worried. That was her task to care, to worry, to remind me. And whether I follow her advice or not, that was my task. We were both crossing into each other's lanes a little. She was trying to control my choices, and I was getting annoyed by her concerns. Once I learned to say, okay, thanks, mom, I'll keep that in mind without feeling the need to fight back or explain myself, the tension dropped. She felt heard, I felt respect, and ironically, we got along better, just like the book says. It's all about that separation of tasks. You do you, I do me, and we stop trying to control each other's life. Now, on to the third and final big lesson. I am not the center of the world. This sounds a bit blunt, right? But it's actually a relief when you really get it. It's kind of like saying you are not the center of the universe, and that's a good thing. When we are a child, we naturally think everything revolves around us. As we grow up, we hopefully learn that other people have their own lives and thoughts. Many of us still secretly act like the world is watching us or owes us something. Have you ever walked into the room and felt like, oh no, everyone's looking at me? Or messed up something at work or school and then feel like everyone must be thinking about my failure? That feeling comes from imagine that you are the center stage and everyone else is the audience. But here's a freeing truth. Most of the time, people are not thinking about you at all. They are busy thinking about themselves because to them, they are the center of the world, not you. It sounds a bit harsh, but it's liberating. It means that when you make a mistake, or you look a little different, or do something awkward, it's not going to be the headline of other people's day. They have got their own headlines in their life. Knowing this, you can relax a bit more. For example, if you trip on the sidewalk and fall in front of a bunch of strangers, you might feel super embarrassed, like, oh gosh, everyone thinks I'm so clumsy. But those people probably just think, hope they're okay, and then move on. Nobody's going to obsess over it like you will. Realizing you are not the center of the world also means understanding that the world isn't out to get you. Sometimes, when a lot is going wrong, we might slip into why is this happening to me thinking, almost as if the universe is specifically targeting us. In reality, stuff happens to everyone. You are not being specially punished, and you are also not specially entitled to have everything go your way. Things happen, and not everything is about your personally. Now, in the context of the book, this idea goes a bit deeper into something called community feeling or social interest. Since you are not the center of the world, that means you are a part of the community, one member among any. Yes, you are the protagonist of your own life story, but so is everyone else in theirs. So, the healthiest way to live is to see yourself as part of a bigger whole. This is where the author suggests shifting from a mindset of what can I get from others to what can I give to others. Think about how different those two questions are. If you are always thinking about what you deserve, what people should do for you, and how everything affects you, you are bound to be frustrated. People won't always give you what you want, and you will feel like the world is unfair. But if you flip it and start thinking, alright, I'm one person in this community, be it my family, my workplace, my group, or friends, society at large, what can I contribute? Suddenly, you find a sense of purpose and connection. Instead of viewing others as supporting characters in your drama, you see them as fellow humans and ask, how can I help make their day better? Or how can I add value? This mindset is empowering because it's something you can control. You can't force people to give attention or respect or love, but you can do small things to give those to others. And ironically, when you do that, you often get the same back in time: respect, friendship, appreciation, but you won't be desperate for it because you are fulfilled by the act of contribution. The book said that a sense of belonging, that feeling of it's okay for me to be here, is something we earn through our own efforts in contributing to the community. It's not handed to us on a silver platter. A quick example: imagine you are at a party feeling awkward and out of place. If you stand in a corner thinking, why isn't anyone talking to me? This sucks. People should notice I'm alone. You are centering everything on you. But if you instead go, okay, I'm not the center here. Let me go say hi to someone or help the host by picking up some empty cups. Now you're focusing outward. You will feel more connected because you are actively being part of the event, not waiting for the event to revolve around you. So, not thinking you are the center doesn't mean you think you are worthless or insignificant. It's just realizing everyone else is just as important as you. No more, no less. We all share the stage, and life is better when we operate with that in mind. You become more humble, but also more confident in a weird way. Confident that you have a place, and humble enough to know it's not all about you. Now, this isn't about not caring about others or doing whatever you want selfishly. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. It's saying be true to yourself and care about others, but in a healthy way. Not caring what strangers on the internet think of your lifestyle, but caring deeply about what meaningful things you can offer to the people around you. It's not easy. It takes, as the word we keep using says, courage. You are living more authentically. You are not on an emotional roller coaster based on other people's options, and you find that you can like yourself more. The book even says the greatest unhappiness is not being able to like oneself. By following these ideas, you actually put yourself in a position to like who you are because you are living accordingly to your own values and also living harmoniously with others. Personally, I found these lessons really eye opening. They challenge a lot of common beliefs, but they ring true once you reflect on them. Try them out in little ways. You might be surprised at how much lighter and freer you feel. Now, I catch myself when I'm worrying what others think or comparing myself to someone, and I remind myself of these ideas. It definitely makes me feel more at peace. I hope the ideas resonate with you too. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Richard Talk. And that's all for today. Bye bye.